So, what's up, everybody? Iceman's Return YouTube channel. This is June 4th, and tonight is Extreme Rules Raw pay-per-view. Tag team titles on the line. Sheamus and Cesaro challenging the tag team champions, the Hardy Boys. Man, I hope the Hardy Boys get whipped. You know, they, for so many years, were separated. They were wrestling individually. And Jeff Hardy, of course, with his substance abuse, had to leave the WWE. They no longer wanted him. Matt Hardy was on that same kind of path, and he ended up leaving the WWE. And they both found themselves in different promotions for a time. Matt was in Ring of Honor. He was doing various independent shows. Jeff Hardy went to TNA and became a big star in TNA. I mean, granted, he already had proved himself in the WWE, but both those guys together were probably two of the, as far as tag team division goes, these two guys were right on top. I mean, along with Edge and Christian, and I'm talking about in that era, the Dudley Boys and whatnot. And but once they separated, Matt used to be the leader of the Hardy Boys back in the WWE days. But once they separated, things changed. Matt didn't do so well on his own until later on in his career. Jeff seemed to do okay. He went to a TNA show and he was on substances or whatnot. He got himself in trouble there. I believe it was in Vengeance of, I forget what year it was. Not Vengeance. I'm all screwed up here. He just went to a TNA show and he got himself in a lick of trouble. Vengeance, obviously, WWE programming. I'm trying to mix them both, thinking about both. But so Jeff Hardy's career flourished while he was in TNA wrestling. He even became the TNA World Champion, and he stayed there. I mean, and then when they went over to the UK and they did their shows over there, Jeff had to stay in the United States because of his probation stipulation, so he couldn't leave the United States. So we didn't see him on TV usually in the beginning of the year, every year, because that's when TNA used to go to the UK and do their tour out that way. But, so anyway, Matt Hardy eventually came to TNA Impact Wrestling a few years ago. And he did okay. He got the world title. But still, it wasn't, to me, it just, I don't know. I really didn't care, to be quite honest with you. And then they decided to do something between Matt and Jeff, where Jeff was the face, Matt was the heel, and all of a sudden, they come up with an idea, broken Matt Hardy, and it went off like lightning. And he instituted his brother Jeff in it as well, and it became wicked popular in TNA. So popular that they were, doing matches out of the venues, out of the arenas. They were doing a lot of stuff, and they were creating their own material for the most part. And then they became huge. They just became huge in TNA Impact Wrestling, and Dixie Carter gave them the permission to do these things. Well, they became so huge that Vince McMahon caught a glimpse and said, hey, we got to get these guys back. Now, granted, Vince didn't want either one of them due to substance abuse and alcohol. But now they're really big. They're on top of the world again. They're doing well. I want them back. So Jarrett's regime comes back in. Anthem. Problems with the money. And suddenly the Hardys left, as well as Mike Bennett and Maria. There was a few others. And we no longer had the Hardy Boys. And in my eyes, I think being lured away by Vince McMahon in the WWE was the key. So we didn't see them for a while until the biggest wrestling event of the year came around, WrestleMania. And the Hardy Boys showed up that night and won the WWE Tag Team titles. So, they've been on Raw. They've held the Raw Tag Team belts since then. And now tonight, they face Sheamus and Cesaro. My gut instinct says Hardys will retain. Because realistically, I would have thought that if the Hardys didn't come back, Enzo and Big Cass would have ended up getting the tag team belts because they were probably two of the most popular guys as far as tag team goes in the WWE. But WWE dropped the ball and gave it to the Hardys, and now Enzo and Big Cass are splitting up, so we won't see that happen. And really, who else can get those belts except for the club? You know, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. But so as it stands right now, it won't surprise me if the Hardys lose to Sheamus and Cesaro. But my gut feeling is they'll retain. And in my opinion, the Hardys really owe Dixie Carter a lot of thanks, a lot of gratitude, because without Dixie Carter, they wouldn't be sitting pretty in the WWE where they sit right now today. Enjoy Extreme Rules tonight, everybody. Let's go Alexa Bliss. And I'm hoping Samoa Joe wins the Fatal 5-Way. We'll see what happens. Peace out, everybody.